Okay, come on now. Emerson's he's always been an optimist by nature, and he's going to give you this big spiel about how she just can't do it because it would be mean and morally wrong. When in reality, Harry Potter isn't the boy who lived, the boy who died, whatever. He's the boy who lucked out. Seriously, come on now. Let's look at how his life has gone. He's irrational. He simply is irrational. Here's why. So Snape comes up and kills the greatest wizard of all time in Dumbledore. Okay, he just completely destroys Dumbledore. So Harry becomes unfrozen underneath the invisibility cloak. So what's the next logical step after someone just kills the greatest wizard of all time? Let's chase after him. Let's go after him and see if we can take him down ourselves. Without these friends that he has and without the support structure that Harry has around him, he would have been a goner a long time ago. And I, for one, think that it would be cool to see the bad guy win for once. Come on, Joe, kill Harry. Yay!
All I can say is I'm really, really glad that Ben-6 is not writing the second Harry Potter book. No, but seriously, I mean, if I got the book, if I read it and Harry died in it, I honestly think it would be mean. She doesn't have to kill Harry. I think if I read that book, I would, I'd pick up the book, I would say, Joe, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I want you to rewrite it right now. And she would because, we're BFFs and all. But seriously though, I mean, throughout the entire series, J.K. Rowling has wrote these books to be about choices, the choices you make, and not the wizard you're born as. Draco and Harry are two examples of this. Harry has been nothing but a true, loyal, honest friend, and Draco and Voldemort have done nothing but make poor choices, and just basically be mad haters. Okay? Now, what kind of moral message would that send to all her young, impressionable readers out there if she killed Harry for being good his whole life and let either one of those two characters survive?
You see, in the words of Dumbledore, it is our choices, Harry, far more than our abilities, that determine who we truly are. See, Dumbledore's the man. Dumbledore always has it right. Now, next to whether or not Harry is going to live or die, Emerson, do you have something to say?
Just one more thing I want to point out. An event that I did with Melissa in Naperville, Illinois, about 2 years ago. We were talking to the manager of the bookstore before the event started, and she mentioned that J.K. Rowling had actually been to that bookstore before she was famous. And she said that a fan asked her, will Harry, Ron, and Hermione live through the end of the series? And she said yes. Now, it is entirely possible that she could have changed her mind since then, but we don't think it's likely. I mean, we do know that two characters have gotten reprieves, and one character now is going to die. But I honestly can't see J.K. Rowling just, waking up one morning and, while she's in the shower, just, sorry, Harry, I screwed up your character, you have to die now. No. She's had this plan from the beginning. She didn't change the title in the shower, by the way, but she hadn't planned out the titles from the beginning. Harry's life is a much, much, much bigger, much more significant to the plot than the title. And lastly, years ago, I've been watching this thing for a very, very long time now. I'm sure some of you guys have too. Whenever fans would ask J.K. Rowling about, what was going to happen to Harry after he graduated, she was evasive, but she never, it wasn't until a couple years ago that she started going, she likes to screw with our heads, right? She likes to keep us questioning and debating and theorizing, so she thought, I know what I'm going to do to these fans. I'm going to make them think that Harry Potter might die. And at first, no one really, back then, no one thought Harry was going to die. Very, very few people did. Now, when I ask that question, a good portion of the hands in the room go up. So, to me, that's just proof that J.K. Rowling is quite sly. Really, I honestly don't think she would just change something so important to the plot.
Right, I'll agree with Emerson in the fact that Harry's fate has been slated from the beginning, and the points that Emerson made about choices are correct. I just like to play devil's advocate from time to time and get people riled up a little bit about, whether he's going to live or die. But the next issue that we like to discuss is something that used to be particularly controversial, but we'll see what your reaction is. So, raise your hand if you think that Snape is working for the Order of the Phoenix. How about Voldemort? How about Snape is working for himself?
Alright, seriously, how can Snape be working for himself? He just killed Albus Dumbledore. Alright, if you're trying not to take sides, you don't go around killing, world-famous, all-powerful wizards, okay? You try to avoid the whole homicide thing. At least that's what I do. Honestly, if I was trying to remain neutral, I wouldn't go around killing people, but that's just, off my soapbox.
Now, for those of you who think Snape's working for Voldemort, I want you to listen very closely to what I say over the next 2 to 3 minutes, because I am convinced that if you take it to heart, you will also be convinced that Snape is a good guy. By good, I mean working for the Order, because we all know, in reality, he's slimy and gross and mean. So, here's the scene. Once again, we already talked about when Dumbledore was killed. He is dead, by the way. Please let that go. Dumbledore is dead, and I quote Emerson, what did J.K. Rowling say? Definitely dead. Definitely dead. So anyways, Dumbledore's laying there incapacitated, basically, and it's Draco's chance to kill Dumbledore. And you know what? He wusses out. He's a big pansy. He steps aside. Snape comes rushing up, and Dumbledore turns to Snape and says, "Severus, please." Now, the first question that we have to ask ourselves is, why would Dumbledore be begging Snape, his trusted friend, for his life? And not only that, why would Dumbledore, a man who said death is nothing but the next greatest adventure, be begging for his life to begin with? The fact is that he wasn't. The reason that Dumbledore said, "Severus, please," is because he was begging Snape to do the job that they agreed to do earlier on in the novel. Now you're saying, Ben, well, when exactly did that happen? Well, earlier on in Half-Blood Prince, Hagrid overhears Snape and Dumbledore conversing, and Snape says to Dumbledore that he, quote-unquote, doesn't want to do it anymore. Now, when I read the novel, I thought that it was referring to spying for the Order of the Phoenix. However, in hindsight, and once we add all the evidence up, it seems that it is killing Dumbledore, because we all know that Snape had to do this, or he was going to die. And Dumbledore is certainly a man that would believe that Snape's position is much more crucial to the Order of the Phoenix than Dumbledore's, because Snape is the one who is getting all the inside information from Lord Voldemort and his followers. So in essence, when Snape killed Dumbledore, he cemented his position in Voldemort's inner circle and is going to become an even more valuable asset to the Order of the Phoenix. Does anybody still disagree? Good.
No, but, he's right, though. And also, Dumbledore's death was absolutely crucial to furthering along the series. We all know in every good fantasy series, Lord of the Rings, King Arthur, all those, the wise old wizard always dies. Every time. And there will be no white Dumbledore in the next book. So, Dumbledore had to die. The series has always been about Harry versus Voldemort. And, with Big Papa Dumbledore still around, calling the shots, and for Harry to use as a crutch, Harry would never have to mature into that wizard who's capable of taking on the Dark Lord. So, and in the book, we have an entire chapter, basically, on Snape, and we have a big, big list of evidence for it. And so, without, sitting